Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're talking about something that I have touched on quite a bit on my TikTok page, and that is why men are no longer dating. Whether it's temporarily or if they're saying that they're done forever. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with the organization of them. If you think that number 5 is actually your number 1, let me know. I'm interested to know this. I also want to know if I've left any big ones out. So let's get started. Number 5, a reason why a lot of men have stepped back from the dating world is because of their own experiences with women having no issue with quickly breaking up. It feels like a lot of women today just have a lack of commitment. We see that with the divorce rate of almost 50% for first-time marriages and 65% for second-time marriages, and with women really taking the lead on initiating those divorces. Women will just see that the grass is greener. We hear about stories of monkey branching, but as we all know, the grass is not always greener once you actually get to the other side. But either way, that leaves a lot of men that have experienced these quick and easy breakups from women. It ends up making them feel quite used because they are typically the ones, especially early on in the relationship, that has to invest a lot in a woman. And for her to break it off so easily and quickly, and I'm even including the ghosting that occurs very early on in relationships, the easy breakup via text message, or just her giving him the silent treatment for some amount of time, and then unloading all of the issues that she has with the relationship at one moment, and he is left blindsided because she kind of saved it all up and wasn't communicating until the very end when she's already decided to break up with him. We also see this when women break up mentally, before physically, where she already knows weeks, months in advance that she's going to break it off with him, and he is left blindsided when she actually tells him because she's made a decision and there's really nothing that he can do to convince her otherwise. So I can understand that men that have gone through this, why they wouldn't go so easily into making that happen again. He's not really diving into the dating world. I do think that for most of these men, that if this is their primary reason for not dating, I do think that there's a healing process that they likely go through, and that them being out of the dating world is temporary. But that's why I listed it as my number 5. So let's go on to number 4. Number 4 is unrealistic expectations. These are like running rampant, especially on social media. We are hearing the crazies come out with their specific numbers that are required of his salary, his height, his size down yonder, all of it. And even specifics of what he does on a date, what he says, how he acts within the relationship, what he spends on an engagement band if they're getting to that level. And what we are seeing is that we're seeing women talk about this outside of relationships and within the relationship. So a lot of these women on social media are single. Very few and far between are these women the types that are in long-term relationships. And I think, ding ding, we all know the reason for that. But they are still dangerous because they are influencing all women that are listening to their content. And a lot of women that are watching them are realizing or thinking this whole mentality of, if your man doesn't do this or he doesn't do that, it means that he doesn't care about you that much. He's not prioritizing you. He's even possibly cheating on you. And the impact that it has on a lot of single women are them believing that coffee dates are no longer good enough. What a man even chooses to wear on a date is not good enough. As far as what happens to men when they run into content like this, is that number 1, they either do try to modify some of their things that they're doing, and they're pouring in even more effort in order to keep a woman interested, or 2, they hear it all and it's all overwhelming, and they just say, look, if that's where the bar is at, like these things that don't even really matter and don't really tell who a person is, like if that is what you're concerned with the most, women, I don't want it. So that's also leading to a lot of men communicating, at least on social media, that they're just done with dating because they're sick of hearing about all of these unrealistic expectations, and they just know that they don't want to try to meet those expectations. So they are saying they would rather just step out. Now, I think that a lot of these men, again, it's more of a temporary situation. That's why I listed it as number 4. And I think that when they meet the right woman that is not spewing this nonsense or believing in this nonsense, then of course, if she's an attractive girl, that man is going to be excited about the potential of dating her. Reason number 3 for men not wanting to date right now is when there has just been this pattern of no effort being reciprocated by a woman. I speak about this a lot on my TikTok page. Simple examples of this is he's always the one reaching out first. He's planning the first date. He's paying for the first date. I think those things that I just listed, very much across the board, most all men, like 99% of men, totally fine with that. The problem comes in when she does not match the energy and effort when communicating. And that's communicating on the date and outside of the date. Before the date, after the date. For example, after the date, if she doesn't say thank you, like in person, and then also after the date, like outside of communicating on the date, and she's not texting or calling and saying thank you and following up, then she's not really showing that appreciation for his efforts. That's really difficult for him to want to move forward in that relationship. The other things that can occur before the first date or even after the first date is if she's just never texting first, if she has super slow replies to him reaching out first. And what about if she just never initiates or follows up with the things that he told her previously is going to be like going on in his life, and she just sort of forgets about it. She doesn't check in and say, oh, hey, how was that gathering? How was that party? Oh, how was that work thing that he had? Especially when men are typically really focused on those things because the pressure is usually on him to really keep the conversation going and asking questions and following up with what she has going on in her life. So the reciprocation is key because it's what allows him to believe that she is truly interested in him for who he is as a person. This leads us into number 2. He can't find the right woman. Which I don't care what anyone says, it is harder today, even with dating apps. Dating apps actually makes it quite a bit harder because women on dating apps have a lot of options, and it actually makes it harder for them to choose a guy to put more effort towards and to make him feel like she actually wants him. Instead, what's happening is that she has maybe 5 to 10 different options at one time, and she's sourcing out all of her energy so that really none of them end up feeling like they're getting enough effort from her. Unless it's the occasional one guy is really standing out to her, which does happen, and that's why there are some success stories in dating apps. But I'm speaking for the majority of men do not have that experience, and so they're just getting the little breadcrumbs from women, and it just really sucks. It sucks to put so much energy and effort towards something and someone and then have them make you feel like they don't want you. And then when you put that on repeat times 10, it becomes really draining, and that's when a lot of guys end up needing to step back from the dating world. And this leads me to the number 1 top reason why men are no longer dating, and that is the threat to his peace. Many men today have found peace in being single, at least for a time. And this goes back to all of the other reasons I already mentioned in finding the right kind of woman becoming just a headache in itself. So what these men have done is they've really focused on other things. They find hobbies that they enjoy. They get a lot of satisfaction from success at work. And they also enjoy their downtime when they really can just choose whatever they feel like doing. It's really as simple as that. Guys, that is the entire list. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll see you next week.